Hello, everybody, and welcome back to some Air Tycoon Online. Whoa, sound is really loud once again. Yeah, today we just wanted to make some routes, and hopefully in future episodes we'll have more money to work with. But we only have 3 planes to work with here, so I'll be gonna be scheduling these 3 planes, and then I'm probably gonna have to, do some more AFKing until we can hit some more money breakpoints. I know we're very, very close to a passenger breakpoint, at which point we can, of course, make um, more routes with the money we get from that. One thing I wanted to do right now is to try and set up some shorter stopover routes to cities which have competition. And this is rare for me, but if you ever have a competition route which you really want to make, go ahead and check who's flying it, and they might have made some crucial mistakes. This is the first thing to check. Is their name value full? Well, if you don't have high name value in your hub city, which this player does not, only 45 points, so he's clearly uninvested in the city, and the name value is slowly dropping. Um, that's not a good thing for your load factor. Another thing which isn't good for your load factor is dissatisfaction. As you can see, he's only got 31%, so he's clearly not using 100% satisfaction in his um, setup for his amenities and food and stuff on board. And that means you can compete with it and quite easily make money. Now, of course, this is also London to Shanghai. Um, Even if it was a perfect flight, you could still compete with it and easily make money. And of course, I'm only taking it with a DC-8 for now because that's the only planes I have. And it's not worth doubling up. And eventually, I'm going to just replace it with a 747, which of course will print money basically regardless of what the competition is, just because the satisfaction is so high. There'll have to be a lot of competitors to pull people away. Um, yeah, I'm a really, really big fan of the 747 for that reason. The London to Lisbon is really short, so I think I'm going to use a partial satisfaction setup. On really, really short routes, I haven't decided yet if it's worth stacking the satisfaction boosting amenities. I think it could be a little bit of a good play, but at the same time, if you do stack too many amenities, it's actually a significant portion of the ticket price compared to, say, when you're using a long haul route. $82 is really not a lot compared to the price of the ticket. Case in point, if we do this route and we take a look at the ticket price of 1.3, $1,200, are you really going to notice $82 out of that? It's not a big deal for the factor guaranteeing 100% load factors. Um, some other routes we want to make was there's routes which are in the range of the DC or the 707 320B everywhere. Um, Currently, as it is, it's a much, much better plane than the DCA 11. But the reason why you'd still use the DCA 11 is if you want to expand as fast as possible, then you would lease aircraft, and of course, the DCA 11 would still be a fantastic choice. Now, I am not leasing aircraft this game, um, mostly to save the lease up for the 747s, so when they come out, I can lease hundreds of 747s. It's going to drop my value to like zero, by the way. Because leasing a 747 is such a big down payment that it just destroys value. Like, it literally just deletes it from the game, gives it to the leasing company, which are not represented here, obviously. So what's going to happen is, as I start leasing the planes, my rank is going to start tumbling. But yeah, the number one player is actually going up quite quickly. 37 planes, 48 routes, so clearly a decent character, or a decent player. I wish I could see his company or where he's based. Uh, Probably somewhere in the U.S., but I'm not sure. Maybe Chicago? I mean, Chicago's got some decent routes to it, so let me check if it's Chicago. Nope, that's some player, which I'm not sure who that is. I can't find this guy's company, actually, but it's pretty big, so I should be able to find it. Maybe I'll make that a little bit of a goal. Vixen Charters. 48 planes, or 48 routes. Some people have like 50 planes already. Jeez. Maybe if I was leasing, I could keep up with these guys, but as I'm just buying my aircraft out and slowly adding them on like that, my profit is not so high. Like, what is it, 30K? That means every two rounds I can only buy one plane. Um, Roughly, even slightly less than that. So yeah, it's not really fast progress. Maybe I should lease. I mean, there's still many, many years until the 747 comes out, and I could always use some sort of uh, Tupolev 124 strategy in order to be able to afford a ton and ton of them. problem is I really don't want to buy any Tupelo 124s because they're just planes which are gonna expire eventually, cost a fortune in maintenance. Then I'll have to replace them and they'll eat up my plane orders when I could be ordering better planes. But maybe if I grow too slowly, I'll never even run into the problem where I'm bottlenecked by the rate of plane deliveries. Um, so yeah, I don't even know if it's a good plan um, to not lease at the beginning. Obviously, it's slowing down growth considerably considering how powerful leases are. What, like, how many more planes could I have if I was leasing? Like, probably I could lease like 10 straight up. I'm guessing. No, I can only use 4. Okay. So I'm not missing out on much. But maybe I should. Should I, guys? Should I lease just to speed up the early game? Um, and ruin our 747 leasing strategy at least? Who knows? Maybe, like, I can't remember how the profitability curves in this game because I really don't play the early game that often. Usually I just go straight for 747s. I start as close to the date of release of 747s as possible, and that kind of gives you a turbo start. Um, of course, that means starting later into the game, which is unfortunate, but starting early in the game is really slow, it looks like, unless you lease, in which case I still think it's pretty slow because there's no great planes to lease. Anyways, yeah, that's all the planes I have, so, oh no, I have one more. I have one more 707. Where should we put it, guys? I'm thinking Phoenix. Um, yeah, got some slots in Phoenix for a reason, so we can go ahead and do London to Phoenix, and then something like Napoli. I know Napoli's a little bit too big for Phoenix as the other stop, but it's okay. I don't really mind missing out on a little bit of money in short haul routes since there's not very much money tied up in short haul routes anyway. Um, the technical term I think is revenue passenger kilometers to shorter routes is really small because the kilometers portion is really small. Um, yeah, but basically because the route is shorter, each passenger pays less for the route, and thus each passenger is worth less. On long haul routes is where the big money is tied up in this game. Short haul routes, of course, still worth a good amount, which is why I like to serve them with small halves of stopover routes instead of actual small planes, because this prevents you from needing a ton of small planes. Um, and the less small planes you have, the easier it is to work with. Now, um, here's another question, guys. Los Angeles, which is a bigger city, or Chicago? If I do Chicago, I can do stopover routes everywhere. You can do like Berlin to Chicago, and then stop it over to like somewhere in Mexico. Now, if you do LA, the only stopover options are in this belt. Like anything farther north than what you can see on my screen now is unavailable to stop over with. So you're basically left with direct routes, but the city is so darn big. I feel like it might just be the better option for a second hub. I think the problem is there's no aircraft which can service this until we get the DC-862, which has slightly better range, but even so, it's not very much better. So it's gonna be a while before we can use most of the good routes from Los Angeles. Looks like New York has been taken by a subscriber as well, so I'm not too sure I want to use New York. There's still good routes available. I see plenty of them, but I don't know if that's going to change in the future. Let's see this. Whoa. Why do people like stacking on the same used routes instead of like there's just open ones everywhere? New York actually looks pretty good. Looks better than Chicago. So we're going to continue trying to make New York our second hub. Um, and then with Los Angeles as kind of like a third backup, which I should try and get by the date the 747 comes out. So let's see. How can we do it? Brazzers Air? No. Why did he leave? Huh. Let's see what routes he had. Um, Athens. Interesting. What a weird stopover in Liverpool. By the way, these stops don't work where you go from your hub to a secondary city and then to a third city because there's no um like a name value between any of the two second cities, so the route doesn't fill up. That's just a little tip for you guys. Always make sure that at the beginning, only hubs where you've invested in name value are used in stopovers. Otherwise, you'll lose a lot of lose a lot of why can't I talk? You lose a lot of load factor for no reason. All right. Anyway, so I think we're gonna invest a little bit in Los Angeles, not too much. Just start getting the name value rolling so that in case we need it. And then I think we're gonna focus our name value in New York. Yeah, I think I want to make New York my next hub. So we're gonna invest 3.3K, and as we start to need a new hub more and more, we're gonna increase the investment amount. If New York doesn't work, I guess we can go Frankfurt, which is completely empty. But Frankfurt's relatively small, so routes will stop filling up unless they're slightly better routes, which I'm not a fan of. So yeah, I want all my routes to be really, really good. So um, that's why I'm gonna try and focus on the best cities. I know with a bunch of subscribers in here, we're gonna have to share them, right, because it's kind of not really a great thing if I just take all the best hubs that are available. I believe Empire Air is a subscriber who's based in New York. So if you're watching, let me know and I'll pick a different hub to use. Uh, I know Paris was taken. Yeah, I think Empire is based here actually. Let me double check that. Do I see Empire? No, I don't see Empire. I see Deltas. This guy. Oh, maybe you just had a route there. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Well, then it looks like New York will be my next hub. Yeah, I thought a subscriber was based here, but I might have seen that wrong. And maybe I did see it wrong and there's a subscriber based here. So let me know. Let me know. Anybody who messaged me in this game, I'll try and avoid your hubs. Um, so yeah, thank you for messaging me, by the way. I really appreciate it. Yeah. Maybe I missaw. Who knows? Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm probably actually gonna wait a little bit and continue it because as this tick passes, I should get some money. So yeah. Be back in a bit. All right, everybody. So a turn or two has now passed, and we have got our passenger unlocked. So that's really nice. The next one, 250,000, going to be another while before we get that one. So yeah, we're just gonna focus on our slow expansion. I'm gonna do everything in my power to not get tempted into leasing aircraft. It's pretty difficult for me as I'm not a patient person, and I would prefer to get just fast roll and start, but we're going to hold back and try and keep this gradual start going just to see how it goes at the end of the day. I'm not really sure if it's actually even a good idea to do what I'm doing, but hey, I'm going to do it anyway. And we're just going to see the results and see if it's worth imitating. And of course, this is basically sacrificing now so that when the really nice airplanes do come out, um, but I think now around 1970 that I'll have leases available for them. Um, yeah, maybe it's a better idea to just make more money now and then do the Tupolev spam strategy, but I don't want to deal with hundreds and hundreds of Tupolevs, which are just like sitting around, not flying, or flying for the sole purpose of making sure our 747s are leasable. That doesn't sound like very much fun to me. So instead, I'm just going to hope that this is not sacrificing the early game too much, and everything will be like handy dandy and very nice. But let's see. Where can we make a stop over to? Marek. Somewhere here is probably good. No, Marek has no airport yet. Okay, yeah, something like this. And whoops, yeah, we need more slot request slots and more plane request slots soon too. But more plane request slots isn't going to be relevant for another while. Yeah, and we're gonna get some more credits from this. I don't want to buy too many credits, so if we take a look at our quests, let's see. We're gonna get another 80 from here, and we're gonna need another 20 from just cash money in order to be able to afford all our things. So we're gonna need to buy 150 credits eventually. That's apparently the smallest bunch. You can spend $6, not a big deal. Yeah. Anyways, let's go ahead and make our routes now. So Qingdao to London, and we can go ahead and stop in where can we reach this with still 6 stops? I'm not sure. I wish I could like click on this so it'll tell me without having to wait. But let's see if this is still 5 schedules. We might as well make that. Yeah, perfect. I want to just set the price to 1.3 manually. Normally, I like to make all my routes at base pricing at 1.0 pricing, and then what I'll do is I'll say for every route with 0 load factor, I'll set the price to say my intended 1.3 pricing. But when you only have 2 routes to make, it's not really a big deal. But when you're making hundreds and hundreds of routes, I can save a lot of time not having to do the pricing for every single route. So that's just a little bit of a tip, guys, if you're ever running an enormous airline and you're opening hundreds and hundreds of routes all at once. Don't bother to set the prices like this manually. Instead, just leave the prices on default and use the adjust all routes tool in order to quickly set the prices. So basically what I do is I just go here. I'd say if you have 0% load factor, which of course is only the new routes, set the current price based on default fare to 1.3, and that would do the trick. But I don't have to do that since of course all my prices are correct. And if we take a look at this now, are all our routes still at 100% load factor? Just 98. London to Tel Aviv. Apparently we got competition here. So that's unfortunate. That's our first drop from 100. A competition on a... He's flying a direct 707-120. No idea why. Yeah, my plane's going to be making just as much money as his, despite being only one half. And the shorter half, albeit of a stopover route. And we have the new routes, which are still slowly increasing. So, yeah, those ones won't be on 100% for a while. So every single route we have is still on 100%, except for the Tel Aviv route. Yeah, I noticed that because I was at 148,000 in terms of profit, or in terms of passenger count. Yeah, where was it? Yeah, when I was looking at this, I was at 114,000. I was like, yeah, I'll just wait till next turn, I'll get it. And then I was still at the exact same number. And I was like, wait, it's just every single route was at 100% load factor. And the routes weren't changing. Anyways, that's all I wanted to do this episode. Hopefully, next episode we'll have more money to work with. But yeah, margin's probably going to go up to about 40,000 on the upticks. So yeah, not too great. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.